All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another video. It's Nathan with the Fantasy Fanatics. I'm here with Spencer. You want to say hello?
What's up?
Today, we're going to continue our series we've been doing, like we showed in the last couple of videos, where we're breaking down every fantasy-relevant player on each team in a division. Today's video is going to be the AFC North, so we'll cover the Steelers, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals. Should be quite a bit of players. This might be one of, I'd say this with like the NFC West probably is the heaviest for fantasy, probably.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
I think so. With AFC South being the least?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably AFC South. The NFC East is probably a little two-team heavy as well.
Yeah,
Washington and Dallas.
Well, Dallas has all the receivers too.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe the AFC South. So, what team do you want to go ahead and start with? Wait,
We'll
also,
start with this.
Also, real quick before you start, updated rankings are out. Are yours out?
Yes, they are.
Mine are out.
Yes, they are.
Cool. Go check them out on the website.
All right, let's start off with the Steelers. I am way high on Ben Roethlisberger compared to you. I have him at quarterback 17. You have him at 24th. What is your reasoning behind your 24 QB 24 ranking?
Gotcha. So my logic behind this, it goes hand in hand with why I have Justin Fields and Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence and like the mid-teens, because I think when you get to a point where the first 12, 13, 14 quarterbacks are off the board, that's going to be each team's starting quarterback. And so after that point, what is the point of taking Ben Roethlisberger when you can take someone like a Fields or a Lance who's got a lot higher upside? That's why I have them ranked in the mid-teens, because if you did take Roethlisberger, you can get someone who's very close to equal value off waivers. And so you might as well take that potential upside.
Well, I was looking at your rankings just now, and you have Sam Darnold at QB 20. You have him above Ben Roethlisberger. Is it because of the weapons? Because I think you could very well argue outside of McCaffrey that Ben has bigger and better weapons.
I don't think so. I would take Carolina's weapons. I think McCaffrey, DJ Moore, and Robbie Anderson are better than Naji Harris, Claypool, Juju, and Deontay Johnson. That's just
really
my personal opinion. Yeah, I think McCaffrey's going to get 10 targets a game. DJ Moore's probably about the same. Robbie Anderson probably 8 to 10, and so I think they're solid players.
All right, well, let's go to running back. Naji Harris, you have him at 12. I am very high on Naji. I have him at 8. I have him, let me look real quick. I have him right below Aaron Jones and above Nick Chubb and Austin Eckler. I am super high on him because of one reason. He is maybe one of 5. Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and Zeke, who will be on the field, I think, for 90% of maybe a little bit more of their team snaps. He is a true workhorse, I think, to start off.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown the pass catching in the preseason. The only problem is he's not running behind a great O-line, and they do have weapons. That's the only thing holding him back from being a top 5 running back, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people will go to the offensive line for that argument. I completely understand why you've got him at 8. The only reason I have him at 12 is simply the guys in front of him. Like, nothing against Naji Harris. It's just the guys in front of him are studs. He could very easily finish the top 10 back. It would not surprise me. I think he's going to get an absolute crap ton of workload in that offense. When they get near the goal line, I think they're going to him. I don't think Ben's going to be throwing as much this year. He's getting up there in age. I think they're going to feed Naji Harris. Even when he drops back, I think he's going to be looking for Harris a lot out of the backfield. So I think it bodes well for him.
So I'm just a tad bit higher on him. I think I'm higher than most, I could say. Most people I've seen have him around that 11 to 14 range. So love Naji Harris this season. Let's go with the wide receiver 1 in Pittsburgh, Deontay Johnson. We were just talking about this before we came on. I have him at 18. Mm-hmm. You have him at 22. Big Deontay Johnson fan, especially in PPR. I think he might be higher than 18 in full PPR. I have him above guys like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Chris Godwin. So I like his ADP. I think his ADP is around right now, floating around that 45 to 50 range. Could be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that is huge value for him and shouldn't be going below guys, as I said. And I've even seen him go below guys like Odell, Cortland Sutton, and Tyler Lockett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. I think he is for fantasy purposes. I do think he's the number one receiver on that team. But as far as like NFL real life purposes, I think all three of them are very equal. I think on the depth chart, it'd be like 1A, 1B, 1C. I don't think there's a 1, 2, and 3.
I think that Deontay Johnson has the potential to turn into what kind of like Antonio Brown was, but not as like good, not as good.
Wow.
But like he has the route running. The only thing he has to work on is the drops. The drops were a problem last year, but if him and Eric Ebron can fix those, basically the whole Steelers, if they can fix that, I think that bodes well for Ben Roethlisberger and all the pass catching options.
Yeah. Although people are ranking Deontay Johnson a lot farther ahead of the other two receivers, I think Juju's got a really good chance to bounce back with all these other weapons around him, especially if he can run a little bit deeper routes because last year everything was right around the line of scrimmage. If they can get him more down the field, I think that's a plus for the whole team and him for fantasy, of course.
Yeah, I totally agree. Off to the other weapons, we got Juju, who we were just talking about. We both have him at wide receiver 31 for this year.
How does that compare to Claypool?
That compares to Claypool. I have him at 32. So I have Juju 31, Claypool 32.
Mm-hmm.
You have Juju 31, Claypool 44.
Yeah. I think Claypool's year last year was very touchdown impacted, if that makes sense. He had a lot of touchdowns. I mean, he had some rushing. He had a couple of rushing touchdowns where they would run like sweeps with him and stuff. I think that comes down with the addition of Naji Harris, and I also think Juju bounces back. I think Deontay Johnson has a good year, so I think for fantasy purposes, he is the wide receiver 3 on that team. And also, one thing I noticed last year is coming down the stretch, he was coming out of the game. He would be the one who comes out for James Washington a lot, so that was a little concerning that maybe his role was diminishing a little bit. So, just something that I'm kind of cautious about. I probably won't be taking him unless it's just like crazy good value.
I searched up Juju's game logs last year.
Mm-hmm.
He had back-to-back games last year where he had 7 catches for 28 yards and then 8 catches for 37 yards.
Yeah.
I think his longest of the season. How far do you think his longest catch of the season was?
It was probably like 30 max.
31.
Yeah.
31. And that's coming from a dude who I think has caught 2 90-plus yard touchdowns in the past.
There's him and AB. Yeah.
And
He's got some wheels.
But he did score some touchdowns last year, though. He had 9 touchdowns.
He did.
So if he can keep up that, I think he could go way up in his yards. He finished with 831 yards. I'm hammering the over if that was the,
I think assuming health and he has like a bounce back season, I think easily over. The big thing with him is he changed when AB was there, he was an outside player. And so then when he left and they got like Claypool and Deontay Johnson, all these guys, he went to the slot. And I thought he was better on the outside. I think that's more of his speed. But the slot offers a little bit of different opportunities and kind of takes away from the yardage. So if he can maintain those touchdowns and just up his yardage, easily top 15. Like he's got that kind of potential.
Off to the tight ends. I did list 2 here.
Tight end.
Eric.
Don't get caught up in it. Tight end.
Tight ends.
Don't get.
I listed 2. Eric Ebron. I have him at 19. You have him at 14. You're a little bit higher than me, but we're not talking about him right now. We're talking about Pat Frymuth. I totally apologize for messing up the Penn State rookie
Big Fry.
whole first name there. But he was, I think, probably the tight end 2 or 3 coming into the draft, not fantasy draft, coming into this year's draft.
Mm-hmm.
And
think it was 3.
I think I want to say that the Steelers drafted him in the 2nd or 3rd. Eric Ebron dealt with drops last year, as we were saying. If he continues that this year, Pat Freiermuth has a chance to leapfrog him on the depth chart. And he caught 2 touchdowns. Not trying to overreact to preseason, but he caught 2 touchdowns in the last preseason game. I think against the Lions, maybe. I don't know. But I think he has some potential there. I ranked him at 30. Obviously not very high on him, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody rank him inside the top 30.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ebron is super talented. He showed that he can really ball when he was on the Colts, and he was their featured tight end. Well, he wasn't even their featured tight end. He was just catching touchdowns left and right. But if he's got this role and he fixes the drop problem and he still gets that touchdown equity that he's been getting, I think he's a high end tight end 2 with low end tight end 1 potential. Especially in the offense, if Naji Harris is what we think he is, it's just going to open up more opportunities for everybody. So I don't think the rookie tight end is going to be a factor this year unless Ebron gets hurt.
So you're not a big fan of Frat Freiermuth.
Nah.
All right.
Not yet. Not yet, at least.
Off to the Bengals. Joe Burrow has been headlining a lot of news, basically with his struggles. So is Jamar Chase, but we'll start off with Joe Burrow. I have him ranked 16th. You have him ranked 13th. You still got him in that high-end QB2 range.
Right. I do. Just solely because of they're going to be having to throw the ball a lot to keep up. He's got 3 very talented receivers, assuming Jamar brings his hands to the game. And he's got a good tight end out of the backfield. He's got he's got a good running back out of the backfield. He's got 2 good tight ends in Uzoma and Sample who like to catch the ball. So I think there's tons of weapons. He's a sneaky mobile quarterback. I think he's kind of got those Justin Herbert vibes as far as like how he runs. He'll shock you here and there. So I expect a lot of passing yards and heavy passing touchdowns because they're going to have to. Otherwise, you're going to get smoked because that defense it's just not up there, not up to scratch.
All right. I have him at 16. I have him at that mid to low kind of QB range. I don't see how you could place him above guys like Trevor Lawrence. I have Jameis Winston above him, and Tom Brady. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I can really move him above any of those guys.
Let me double check my rankings. I've got let's see here. I've got him at 13, right behind Stafford, Tannehill, and Brady. And then right ahead of Trevor Lawrence, Jameis, and then the rookie quarterbacks. So I think he's right in that range of players that you're taking as, you missed out on the top guys, but he's going to be a solid starter. And then if you get a guy like that, that's the kind of range where I would also try and take a flyer on one of the rookies as well. Just not Mac Jones because I don't think he offers much value.
Okay.
But
all right. We've already talked about Mac. Well, let's go to Joe Mixon. We both have him ranked 14th. Yeah. He gets a lot of hate because it feels like he's been playing for 10 years and has busted 10 of those 10 years. Last year, I think he was not very good for the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then maybe week 5 or week 6, he had that crazy game, and they got hurt. And then people were like, oh, he'll be back week 10. And then week 10 came, oh, he'll be back like week 14. Then they shut him down for the rest of the year. It was one of the most frustrating things as a Mixon owner in a lot of leagues. Very frustrating. I do not want to be drafting him as my RB1.
Completely agree.
I don't think you're in a scenario where you will be drafting him as your RB1 unless you're in a 14-team league. I'd much rather have guys like Gibson, James Robinson, Saquon, obviously. Those are just guys just going around him. Speaking of James Robinson, not to get off track, we already did the AFC South, talked about James Robinson. That Travis Etienne news did not come out yet. Let's skip to him for a quick little bit.
We can jump to him real quick. Yeah.
I have him at 12. You have him at 13. So both of us think he automatically leapfrogs into that RB1 tier, low RB1, maybe high end RB2.
Borderline RB1, 2. Definitely got the RB1 potential. We saw it last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think he finished just spitballing here as the RB3, 4 or 5.
I think it was 5.
5. So he was a top 5 running back. Now he's got Trevor Lawrence, who hopefully won't stack. I mean, they won't be stacking the box as much. But you were mentioning to me earlier, you're a little worried about Carlos Hyde.
Yeah. Everywhere Carlos Hyde goes, he's like decent. He's not great, but he's decent. We saw last year in Seattle, he was stealing touches from Chris Carson. And then when Carson went out, he's the lead back. He was in the way before Nick Chubb broke out. He was getting involved in Houston. So everywhere he goes, he's involved. And last year, the second guy behind James Robinson was like your local cook at Waffle House. Like it was nobody. And so that competition plus the offensive line, I'm not a believer in. Rookie quarterback, I know last year they had, Minshew. So I think the quarterback's a little improved, but we still got to see it from him first.
Way improved. Not a fan of Minshew mania.
I'm not either. I'm not either by any means, but I think he might have to settle in. And I hope that they help him settle in by feeding Robinson. I think it's a good way.
All right, back to Joe Mixon. The only thing that's keeping me ranking him 14th right now is that he might be one of those 5 or 6 guys I was talking about earlier with Naji Harris, who might be a true workhorse.
Completely agree.
I think they have some Majay P-Ron. I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about any of his backups. He's super talented. It's just some weird.
I mean, if you knew that Joe Mixon was playing 95% of the snaps at running back,
that's unrealistic. Nobody does that.
But no, say if he was playing 95% snaps, would you? I mean,
and like he stayed healthy all year.
If he stays healthy, 95% of snaps, where do you draft him?
He'd probably be just inside the top 10.
Yeah, I would move him inside the top 10 if I knew that. And that's what
9 or 10.
That's what he has the potential to do.
Sure.
So,
and he showed it before.
Let's go to Mr. Drop, Mr. Butterfingers, Jamar Chase. I have him at 28. You have him at 30. I did have him right outside the top 20 until this news about the drops and his lazy route running came out. I moved him down about 7 or 8 spots. Still am a Jamar Chase believer, just not as much, but can't overreact to a couple weeks. So,
how much of that do you think is nerves?
It's got to be all in the head. Once he scores an 80-yard touchdown, we'll be good.
Gets that confidence going.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think having. Go ahead.
I think with the Joe Burrow connection from LSU, you got to remember Jamar Chase was the best receiver at LSU, and that included Justin Jefferson and Clyde Edwards too. He was the number 1 option in that offense.
Yeah, but we've seen stuff like that before, where the number 1, where they all go to the NFL and it just doesn't translate right, and like last year, Justin Jefferson being the number 1 rookie receiver, nobody would have predicted that before the season started. But that's just how it folded.
I think Jamar Chase is a little bit different. I think he has the least bust potential out of Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, the 2 top 3s.
Well, I mean,
the other top 3s.
I think their situations are very different. I think Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle are both on teams where, as far as throwing the ball, is not as strong as Joe Burrow is. Obviously, very different quarterbacks, but I think Jamar Chase is in a better situation. But there's just something about it. It just does not. I've talked to you about that before off camera, how I'm not the biggest Jamar. I don't think he's going to be a top 10 receiver this year, like some people think. And I don't know. My gut tells me Devonta Smith is going to translate pretty well. Could be completely wrong because Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback. So only time will tell.
All right. Off to Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. I have Tyler Boyd at 40. You have him at 42. He will either finish as the most targets in that offense, or he could finish as the least amount of targets in that offense. Then we have T. Higgins. You have him at 31. I have him at 37. You're a little bit higher on him. Let's talk about those two right now. T. Higgins definitely has the most potential out of both of them, but I think safer.
Tyler Boyd's 100%. He's a target monster.
And T. Higgins is that kind of go up and get it receiver.
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd kind of, I think he plays the slot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he will this year.
He will, definitely. Jamar Chase is going to be on the outside.
It's kind of hard to predict the target distribution in this offense, but only time will tell. This preseason has not helped at all. Nobody has emerged as that true wide receiver one.
Well, I think Burrow's first game is going to be this week in the preseason. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't expect him to play well. Just, a lot of rust. And he's had the training camp struggles. But I think once again, the groove, all those weapons, combined with the fact that they're going to be down, I think he'll be fine. For fantasy purposes, I think that whole offense is going to be usable.
All right. Off to the tight end, CJ Uzoma. You do not have Usoma.
Drew Sample.
I do not think Drew Sample is worthy of a graphic.
I'm a big Drew Sample guy. Drew Sample guy.
You don't have either of them ranked, though.
Yeah, I know. I think they're going to split time. I think it's a situation with like Higbee and Everett that we've seen before where they split time and just hurt each other in fantasy. I really like Drew Sample.
I am mistaken. You do have Drew Sample ranked. I did not see him earlier. But I have CJ Usoma at 25. I think he is much better than Drew Sample, personally. Not much reason, just kind of a big target. I think he'll score some touchdowns, kind of like every other tight end. But like you said, they're going to be passing a lot. Somebody's got to catch those passes.
Yeah, the reason I got Sample at 32, for those wondering, just the very last spot on our tight end rankings. The only reason is last season when Uzoma was down, Drew Sample looked solid. He had a few games where he was racking up like 8 or 9 or 10 targets from Burrow. And so I think they made a good connection. And as long as he gets on the field, I think he'll still see targets.
All righty, off to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, complete stud. I have him at 3. You have him at 4.
Yep. Very easily finished QB1.
Why don't you have him at 3 also?
I prefer Kyler Murray because the arm talent and the weapons he's got combined with the running. Like, I don't think Kyler Murray's running is too behind Lamar. If that makes sense. And Kyler's obviously the superior passer with the better weapons.
Yeah, but I think Lamar Jackson's the much better runner.
I think he definitely is, and he's going to run more. But I think Kyler runs. Kyler had like 800 yards last year? Is that accurate?
I am not sure.
I'll have to double check that. I thought he had a bunch of yards, and so that may be completely wrong. Let me double check that.
I'm looking right now.
But like, he's going to get a ton of passing yards. He's going to run the ball plenty. Let me see if I find it. Dude's just an overall stud.
I do like Lamar Jackson more than Kyler Murray. I think I have Deshaun Watson. Not going to talk about him above Kyler Murray.
Last year he had 819 yards.
How many did Lamar Jackson have?
Let me check.
And I don't know. I don't really. I think most people would prefer Lamar Jackson over Kyler. I don't know if the ADP reflects that, though.
Last year, he had 1,005. So less than 200-yard difference. That's a 20-point difference. I think Kyler more than makes up for that in passing. He's going to have more passing touchdowns. He's going to have more passing yards.
Well, I think Lamar will have way more rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but
I think that's where the point difference really comes in.
Last year, Lamar had 7, matched his career high. Let me double check what Kyler had.
I would think Keller had somewhere around that, if not more.
Last year, he had 11.
Yeah.
11.
I was thinking more.
819 yards and 11 touchdowns rushing.
I don't think he'll have 11 rush touchdowns again. I think there's no way.
With Chase Edmonds being the lead back potentially,
I don't know. I don't think
they can't stack the box. They've got AJ Green now to go on the other side, Christian Kirk and DeAndre Hopkins. They can't have somebody spy him, even though they need to because they got all these weapons, dude. Why
don't you just bump up to your QB1? Jeez Louise. Off to the running backs.
If he does not get hurt, he's like a top 5 lock, like guaranteed.
J.K. Dobbins, you have him at 19. You have him inside the top 20. I have him at 22. He's not even the RB1 in his own offense. That is definitely Lamar Jackson. That's the only thing that's
every play.
That's the only thing that's scary. I see you have him ranked above DeAndre Swift.
I do, yeah. DeAndre
Please
Swift's
elaborate.
Competition. He's got more competition with Jamal Williams there now.
I'd say Gus Edwards is better. I'd say Gus Edwards is better than Jamal Williams. No, I'd take that back.
I was about to say
I'd take that back.
Okay, so let me explain. I think the Lions offense is going to be atrocious with Jared Goff. Like, just god-awful. So the scoring chances are going to be down. Talking about J.K. Dobbins, right? Yeah, so Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards, especially Jackson, are definitely going to steal touches and touchdowns, but they run the ball so much. And Dobbins is super talented. He's going to feature in the passing game. I'm a big believer in his talent. I think he's going to be great. So that's my reasoning.
Okay.
Do you disagree? Right. Do you disagree? You think Swift's going to outscore him?
I do.
Yeah, I was about to say your rankings suggest so.
But I don't think by much.
I would take Dobbins personally. If we're in like the 3rd round and they're both available, I'm taking Dobbins.
I would take Swift. So, all right. What about in the PPR?
Yeah, still Dobbins. Jamal Williams is like the pass catching back for the Packers. Why isn't he going to be the same thing for the Lions?
Because DeAndre Swift is a wide receiver and a running back. Stud.
I've heard this before.
Complete stud.
Antonio Gibson doesn't even play on 3rd down, so
complete stud.
He's a very good player. Don't get me wrong, but give me Dobbins.
You're just mad because he dropped that week 1 or week 2 pass in the end zone for the touchdown. Do you remember that?
Who? Which one?
DeAndre Swift.
I wasn't mad. I had him in 0 leagues.
I had him in a lot of leagues. I liked Swift last year.
Yeah, too much risk. I mean, he got like Adrian Peterson was still in carries. Come on now. Man's like 50.
Okay, but like Adrian Peterson's in your backfield, you've got to give him touches.
He's what, like 47 years old now?
Turning 50. All right. Yeah. Wide receivers. We do not like the wide receivers at all. You know why?
Except week one. Do
you know why we don't like the wide receivers anymore? Because Des Bryant isn't there.
I knew you were going to say something about Des Bryant. I knew that was coming.
All right.
We like a certain one for just week 1. Put him on our list, week 1.
All right. I do not have him in the graphic. I should just have a big week 1 right above him.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about Sammy Watkins.
Just week 1 projections, like 200 yards, 3 touchdowns.
We're talking about Sammy Watkins.
Yep.
He not going to be good for weeks 2 through 17 or 18, but he will likely win you your week 1 matchup.
Yeah, you can go ahead and sit the rest of your team. Just plug in Sammy in the weeksters. If you don't believe us, go back and look at his previous game logs. It's unreal.
Actually, being serious, might be an idiot for even asking this. Do you draft Sammy Watkins on that offset chance that he maybe has that week 1? No.
On like the most run-heavy team, no shot.
Because I remember I saw 2 years ago, I think it was somebody traded Sammy Watkins for Calvin Ridley in week 2.
I hope this was not a dynasty league.
No, it wasn't a dynasty league. It was a redraft league.
Okay. I was gonna say, wow.
But week 1, Sammy Watkins. I do have Rashad Bateman and Marquise Brown on the graphic. We both have Rashad Bateman unranked, rookie wide receiver, and I have Marquise Brown unranked. You have him at 47.
Hey, real quick. You have LaVisca ranked twice.
Thank you for that.
Anytime.
Not even talking about the AFC South.
I'm just looking at the rankings right now. You have LaVisca ranked twice. Just a heads up. We'll get that. Don't worry about it. We'll get that after the podcast. Yeah. So you have Marquise Brown ranked where?
I also have Tyler Boyd ranked twice.
Wow, you exposing yourself there. So you don't. It doesn't look like you have Marquise Brown ranked at all, and I have him at 47. So regardless, he's obviously towards the back of our wide receiver rankings. I think at best he's a flex play right now. Would you agree with that?
No.
What would you say?
I don't think he's worthy of a flex play.
I was saying at best, like that's his ceiling as like a flex.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because he's very inconsistent. It's like Ted Ginn.
I would say at best he's a wide receiver 2 just based off of the vertical threat that he is. He's so fast.
But you gotta have a
if I had to guess, I don't even think you could start. I don't even think you can start the guy week 1.
I agree. Completely agree. He will not be in any of my lineups. I probably won't even be taking him. I just don't believe. I don't see what is going to change from the past seasons that's going to vault him up to that wide receiver status.
Well, then I'm wondering why you have him ranked above, Gabriel Davis or Steven Sims Jr. or Isaiah McKenzie.
I want people who are going to be on the field and actually have the ball thrown to them instead of people who are going to be on the sideline watching Josh Allen overthrow people like 20 yards.
What's your deal, dude? What's your problem? Are you not an Isaiah McKenzie fan?
Not at all. Nope. Glorified punt returner. We went over this earlier.
Oh, I think I see what happened with the rankings. Wow.
We'll fix that later. Don't worry about it.
All right. Off to tight end, Mark Andrews. We both have him at 6.
Yep.
Explain.
He would be higher, but he's too touchdown dependent.
He is very touchdown dependent.
Yep. If the touchdowns dry up, he's like damn near unplayable because he's not going to have very many yards.
I am not a huge Mark Andrews fan.
Not either.
He's a super talented guy, but like I said, that offense is not a pass-heavy offense. You could even make a case of drafting Logan Thomas above him.
Yeah, I would strongly consider that. In fact, in my final rankings before the season starts, that's going to be one of the spots where I really have to think. I may just move Logan Thomas up.
Yeah. Would you draft Noah Fant above him?
No, not Noah Fant.
Not a big Noah Fant guy.
Nothing against Fant. It's just a quarterback play there.
Alrighty. Off to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield. This was the big topic I wanted to talk about. I have him at 19. Mm-hmm. You have him at 26.
Yep.
Please tell me why you have him below Carson Wentz.
I think they're in very similar situations. They'll be throwing the ball a lot. Even though he's got Odell and Jarvis Landry, what is there to go by in previous seasons where he's going to be a fantasy stud?
If Odell is 2016 Odell Beckham Jr. or 2015 Odell Beckham Jr., where do you rank Baker?
Well, Odell has been that Odell in past seasons, and Baker has not performed.
So you just don't like Baker Mayfield?
No, I think he's a solid player, but their system is their focal point is Nick Chubb. Their second focal point is Kareem Hunt. And then after that, it's like whatever's left over goes to Odell and Jarvis. So it's not like a fantasy-friendly quarterback offense. Everybody else will do fine. I think Odell's wide receiver 2, Landry's probably like a 3 or a flex. And then obviously the 2 stud running backs. So I don't know. I think they lean too much on the running backs for him to be good.
Okay. Off to the running backs. They got 2 stud running backs.
Wait. You got to explain your Baker Mayfield ranking. Why do you have him?
Why I have him at 19?
Yeah.
because of what we were just talking about. He has Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, he has Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, Harrison Bryant. He has a bunch of talent. I have him above guys like Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Zach Wilson. I think he has a little bit of running in his game too.
Very little.
I'm curious of his rushing stats. Let me look that up real quick.
Very little. I just don't believe it. There's like past seasons have justified my reasoning for that. So let's see what he had.
I'm just a big Baker Mayfield guy.
He had 165 rushing yards last year, Spencer. That's 10 yards.
Well, actually,
10
he had
yards
100. He actually had 162. Year before that, 285.
What are you looking at? What?
I'm looking at rushing. What are you looking at?
Rushing. 165, 141, 131. I don't know what stat you're looking at. And his career high for passing is 3,800 yards in one season and 27 touchdowns in another season. And he's kind of reckless with the ball sometimes. He just, like, for fantasy purposes, I'm not a believer.
You know, I do apologize for calling Baker Mayfield a running quarterback.
Yeah, that was just unnecessary.
I have been stand corrected. But
We take
after the running backs,
take him on the chin around here.
after the running backs,
You're a
I
better
have
man
Nick
because of
Chubb.
it.
I have Nick Chubb at 9.
Mm-hmm.
You have Nick Chubb at 8. Not much to say about him. Just
Stud.
very good. Very good. If Kareem Hunt wasn't there, he'd be running back 3 for me.
3.
3.
He would not be. He'd probably be in like the 5 or 6 range.
I think he'd be running back 3 for me.
3. See, last year was his career high with 12 touchdowns, but he only had just over 1,000 yards. I think the touchdown opportunity with Kareem Hunt there is going to cap at about that number, whereas like a Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook or somebody like that is going to be in the upper teens. That's the only thing that holds back Nick Chubb from those other guys, in my opinion. Otherwise, I think he'd be in the conversation for top 5. Do you agree with that? Don't agree?
Oh, yeah, like I said, RB3.
Yeah, but I don't know about that high. I don't think you can put him over Derrick Henry. No shot.
Well,
Maybe you're thinking of because App State alum Darrington Evans is going to be back there in the Kareem Hunt role, but only time will tell. Moving on.
All right, off to Kareem Hunt. The Darrington Evans in the offense.
The Darrington Evans, yep.
You have him ranked 26th. I have him ranked 30th. We both have him as kind of borderline flex plays. I think
the
people
best
are.
handcuff.
I disagree.
You don't think he's the best handcuff?
I do not.
Who do you think? Tony Jones Jr. maybe?
No.
Who?
I think Chuba Hubbard's the best handcuff.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I was literally about to mouth Chuba Hubbard.
I'm just kidding. All right. For real, best handcuff in the game, Latavius Murray.
He's a third stringer. We've been over this.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude,
me and Nathan have put a bet on this.
No shot. Kareem Hunt, no shot. Kareem Hunt's the best handcuff ever.
I think Latavius Murray is.
How?
I just think he's the best.
Oh, my gosh. Because Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber and all those guys just lit it up when he was at quarterback, right? So, and Latavius Murray is not much better than those dudes.
Oh, stop.
Then Ronald Jones, they're like the same player. They're both big, got average speed.
So they're both big, and that makes them the same running back.
How they play is very similar.
Hell, let's just throw Nick Chubb into that conversation, too.
Not even close.
All right. Odell Beckham. Love Odell Beckham. Not for fantasy purposes, just love the player.
Well.
For fantasy purposes, I have him around wide receiver 2. Hopefully he can return.
Wide receiver 2, right? Not the wide receiver 2?
A wide receiver 2.
Gotcha. Just want to clarify.
You know, I don't like this. I don't like how you have to correct me every time I say something.
Well, because you said you've got him as around the wide receiver 2. I was like, what? There's no shot.
You know what? Maybe I do have him as the wide receiver 2. Right
You know what?
above
I'm not
Tyreek
knocking it.
Hill. Right
I'm
above
not
Tyreek
knocking it.
Hill.
And right behind DK Metcalf. Gotcha.
I would love nothing more to see Odell Beckham Jr. finish as the wide receiver 1 in fantasy.
That'd be cool.
But that's just not happened.
Not with DK in the league.
We both have Brown wide receiver 2 because of the quarterback.
You just said it again.
Moving on from Odell Beckham, we got Jarvis Landry, and I put on here Rashard Higgins. You're not drafting Rashard Higgins. Just felt like you should throw Rashard Higgins.
Rashard Higgins? Okay, we're doing that. Okay. Why
Jarvis Landry. I have him at 47. You have him at 48. We do not love Jarvis Landry. I am watching the Little League World Series.
Rashard Higgins is like the KJ Hamler of the Browns. What are you doing?
I don't know who that is, but this 12-year-old just jumped the fence and robbed him of a home run. I wish I could turn my computer.
Really?
But just went back to the fence looking like Mike Trout.
Wow. Wow.
This isn't a Little League World Series podcast. Although it could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Give me
Hawaii. Give me Hawaii.
I think that's who this dude played for.
Oh, really?
I don't know which HI stands for.
You might want to cut that on the podcast. Oh my god!
All right, well, obviously Nathan's getting a little bit more joy out of this than everyone else.
All right. Moving on. Browns tight ends.
We have not talked about the Browns at all. We have just said our rankings and not gave any kind of reason, and then talked about the best handcuffs.
And then about some little 12-year-old Hawaiian jumping the fence.
Okay, I wish I could put the video on here, but dude went back, snagged it. It's very impressive. The next Bryce Harper, without the strikeouts. Tight end Austin Hooper.
Where do you have him ranked?
I have him ranked at 23rd. You have him at 17. I mean, is there anything to say about Austin Hooper?
He's shown he can do it with the Falcons. I think he's a bang average tight end too. He's a viable fill-in. He, kind of touchdown dependent. So, but everybody in that tight end range is the same.
Did you say bang average?
Yeah, bang average.
Bang average?
Bang average. Is something wrong with that?
BANG average.
Yes. What is wrong with that?
I have never heard that before.
Have you ever come out of your house, you uncultured swine? Bang average. What?
Bang average.
Yeah. You never, Spencer. This is a rough podcast for you, Bob.
I don't think it is. I think I bought out this podcast.
First, the Hawaii incident, and then not hearing about bang average. But okay.
I didn't know what HI stood for. Sue me. All right. Didn't know if it stood for. I don't know. What else what it would stand for. Maybe
for all you wondering, watching, that's all you need to know about Spencer's brain.
Maybe high point.
So in the next episode is going to be NFC East. Is it correct?
No, you were wrong.
We started out with the AFC East.
You are correct. NFC East. It will be.
It will be NFC East. So this one will be going up on Thursday. Is it correct? Thursday?
I think Thursday. Yeah, Thursday afternoon.
Thursday. So look for it on Thursday. Check out all our socials. Check out our
YouTube
channel.
For it on Thursday. Wait, this one we're recording Thursday.
We're gonna cut out that little clip and then we're gonna post that clip saying look for it on Thursday.
Why did you tell them to look for it on Thursday after they just finished the whole podcast?
Because I'm thinking in retrospect, like they're gonna see this and it's gonna be like Inception. They go back.
Somebody's watching the Hawaii Michigan game. All right, everybody. That will finish it up. Follow us on all our social. The FF Fanatics 3 on Twitter. The Fantasy Fanatics website. Anything else I want to throw in there?
The website.
The FF Fanatics.com.
.com.
Yes, sir.
And our YouTube is the Fantasy Fanatics. Sub to us. We appreciate all the support, and we'll catch you in the next one.
All right.